Today's lesson is problem solving with slope-intercept form. What we're going to do is we're going to take slope-intercept form and put it in real life situations. Okay, so the first thing we need to learn, first thing we need to recall is the slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept is in the form y equals mx plus b. M is my slope, or we also call it the rate of change. And B is the y-intercept. Where the line crosses the y-axis. This is also where it begins, okay? So we say that B is the y-intercept, it's where it begins, it's where the line crosses the y-axis. So let's look at this. It says a car has already traveled 50 miles and continues to travel 60 miles per hour. Okay? So first we have to identify the y and the x. Now, when you're doing this, there's certain keywords that help us identify our slope. Per, each, or an. Okay, so to find slope, our keywords are usually per, each, or an. Okay, so right here we have 60 miles per hour. So that is going to be my slope. Sorry, I'm going to kind of jump around here. 60 miles per hour. So per tells me that the 60 belongs to my slope. So I technically have 60 over 1. All right. And what does that represent? Miles per hour. So that will always be right there. Okay. Now, where did we begin? Well, it said that the car has already traveled 50 miles. So it's already traveled 50 miles. Okay. So we're going to begin at 0, 50. Why? Because that's my y-intercept. That's where we begin. And it is the miles already traveled. Okay, miles already traveled. So now let's identify the x and the y. So the x, remember, because my equation is y equals mx plus b. Well, what is linked with my m? Miles per hour. It's always the word after per, each, or an. So x is going to be my hours. And y is going to be miles, miles traveled, however you want to write that. Okay, so now we're going to write it in the equation. Y equals, my m is 60x and plus 50. Because we've already traveled for 50 miles, okay? And then we're going to continue to travel at 60 miles per hour. All right. It says, does the situation have an x-intercept? Does the line ever cross the x-axis? Well, let's recall some information. Okay. The x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis, is where y equals 0. So you have a number and 0, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation and I'm going to fill in a 0 for y to see if I can find the x-intercept. So I have 0 equals 60x plus 50. And what we're going to do is we're going to solve x. So right here what we did is we plug a 0 in for y. Okay, so that's what took place right there, is we plugged the 0 in for y, and now we're going to solve for x. So we're going to subtract 50. So negative 50 equals 60x. Divide by 60. And we have x equals negative 5/6. So does it have a x-intercept? Well, it's at a negative. So yes, it does, and we're going to explain why. Because 5/6 of an hour ago, the car began to travel. Okay, let's look at the second one. You are in debt $120 and are paying off the debt at a rate of $15 per week. Okay, so we know that we're going to start in debt $120. So that is my B. And this is where we begin, because it says you are in debt $120. So we have 0 and negative 120 because we're in debt. That's the amount of debt that we are in at the time. Okay. Remember, we had our keywords per, each, or and we're going to pay the debt back at a rate of $15 per week. So my slope is going to be $15, and it's the amount per week. X is always the word after per, each, or in. So X is going to represent the number of weeks. And Y, people, we use different things when you're dealing with word problems, so they're kind of subjective. Total money owed, amount of debt paid off. So you can just do any of those. I'm going to write total money owed. Okay. Now we're going to write the equation, because I have Y equals, my M is 15X minus 120. Okay. Does this situation have an x-intercept? Well, we have to figure this out. So what we have to do is we have to plug in a 0 for Y. So I have 0 equals 15X minus 120. Now we're going to solve for X. So X is going to represent the number of weeks, right? Because we said it's weeks. So we're going to add 120. 120 equals 15X. We're going to divide by 15. 120 divided by 15 is 8, so 8 equals X. So what does that actually represent? Remember, my x-intercept is a number in 0, which is 8 and 0. So 8, or the X, represents the weeks. So we have 8 weeks, and my Y is the money owed. So does it have an x-intercept? Yes. At 8 weeks, you owe $0, or that's when the debt is paid off. Yes. The debt is paid off, or 0 money owed in 8 weeks. Okay, so if you had a graph, your graph would look like this. It would start down here at negative 20 because your Y is the money, okay? Your x-axis is our weeks. So you would have a line, you're going to pay this off at a constant rate, and it would be paid off at 8 weeks. That's what that line represents. So that's kind of what a graph looks like with that one. Okay, so we got 2 more. You are 765 feet in the air. So that's where we're beginning. We are 765 feet in the air. You are descending at a rate of 12 feet per minute. Okay? Descending is important because that means the hot air balloon, you're up in the hot air balloon 765 feet in the air, and you're descending, which means that you are coming down 12 feet per minute. So my slope is going to be 12 over 1, and that is going to represent feet per minute. Okay, you're starting, hold on, this needs to be a negative 12 because we're descending. We're not increasing our feet per minute. We're decreasing our feet per minute. We are going to begin at a positive 760 feet because we're 760 feet in the air. So this is feet in the air. Okay, so what does the X represent? It always deals with what is after the word per, each, or in. So X is the minutes. And y is going to be your distance traveled, distance in the air, distance in feet. Okay, any of those would work. Amount traveled, that would work. Okay, so our equation is y equals negative 12x plus 765. Because we're beginning at 765 feet, and we're going to decrease 12 feet per minute. So if you were to look at a graph on this one, this is your feet in the air, and this is going to represent our minutes. Okay, so we want to descend at a constant rate, and we need to figure out that. It says, is there an X intercept? I hope there is, because at this point, the only way you can land is if you have an X intercept, because that is when your hot air balloon is on the ground at 0 feet. Okay, so we're going to substitute a 0 in for our y. So we're going to subtract 765. Okay. And now we're going to divide by negative 12. So x is 63.75. If you put that in the calculator, you have 765. Oopsie, clear. Negative 765 divided by negative 12. And that's where I got that 63.75. Okay. So remember, we're at your x-intercept is a number in 0. Our number is 63.750. Our x represents minutes. Our y represents our feet. Right? Distance in feet. So we're 0 feet in the air, 0 distance in feet at 63.75. So yes, at 63.75 minutes, you'll be on the ground. Or you would have landed in 63.75 minutes. You can say that also. Okay. You're scuba diving at a depth of 25 feet. You are ascending at a rate of 4 feet per minute. Okay, so we're ascending at a rate of 4 feet per minute. Okay, that means we're coming to the surface. We are at a depth of 25 feet. So if you picture this on this side, okay, your x-axis is your water, and you're down here at a depth of 25 feet. And you're ascending at 4 feet per minute. So let's go with our slope. It's going to be 4 over 1. It's a positive because we're increasing, right? And that's going to be feet per minute. Your y-intercept is actually at a depth of 25. You're at negative 25 feet. Okay? And that is the depth in the water. All right. Now remember, x is always the word after per, so x is representing the minutes. Y, feet swam, distance in feet. I'm going to use distance in feet again. Amount traveled. Okay. Depth, that would work. Y equals, here's our slope, 4x minus 25. Because you're starting at negative 25 and you're going to increase or ascend 4 feet per minute. Okay, is there an x-intercept? Well, I hope there's an x-intercept, because if you don't reach the x-intercept, you're never going to reach the surface. So you need to have an x-intercept. So we have 0 equals 4x minus 25 at 25. 25 equals 4x. Divide by 4. 25 divided by 4 is 6.25x. So remember, an x-intercept, is a number and 0. This is 6.25 and 0. X represents minutes. And the Y represents your depth. We can say your depth. Or your feet, your distance in feet. So, is there an x-intercept? Yes. It takes 6.25 minutes to reach the surface. Okay. So for the summary, I do want you to write out the summary. Okay. The summary says, I have all that out there. The summary says, highlight and identify the key words. The number that goes with X has the keyword of each, per, or and. Use the slope-intercept form of the equation y equals. Identify the slope and y-intercept. Identify the X and Y variables. And also identify the X-intercept. So you can really use the slope-intercept form and real life and to calculate how far things are going to go. We have dealt with cars, traveling, money, scuba diving, and hot air balloons. So we'll look at some more real life situations for our homework. Thank you.